Okay, so it's practically here. This Saturday, May 3rd, 2025, it's the Kentucky Derby.
That's right. Derby time.
And if you're tuning in, well, you're probably as curious as we are.
Yeah.
So for this deep dive, we've gone through a bunch of news articles, some YouTube stuff too, to really pull out the important bits, the interesting stuff about the 151st run for the Roses coming up.
Yeah, the goal is really to get you, the listener, a solid grasp of what's happening, what matters, without, drowning you in stats.
Exactly. No information overload. So let's get into what makes this year's race stand out.
Sounds good. It's always more than just a horse race, isn't it? It's like a snapshot of American culture in many ways. We'll dig into why using the info we've gathered.
Perfect. So the basics first. The date. Saturday, May 3rd, 2025. Confirmed.
It's locked in.
And if you want to catch the actual race start, the official post time is 7:02 p.m. Eastern Time.
7:02 p.m. ET sharp.
And wow, this is the 151st running. That's some serious history right there.
It really is. Deep roots.
And of course, the nicknames, everyone knows the Run for the Roses. And my personal favorite, the most exciting 2 minutes in sports.
That 2 minutes part is so crucial, I think. It just ramps up the intensity like nothing else.
Totally. So much pressure, so little time. Split-second decisions needed.
Exactly. And importantly, remember, this is the first leg of the Triple Crown. So the pressure's on right out of the gate.
No kidding. And the place where it all happens, the legendary Churchill Downs in Louisville, Kentucky.
Iconic track, seen so much history.
They'll be running on the dirt track, and the distance is 1.25 miles.
Which is also 10 furlongs. Or about 2 kilometers if you think metric.
Right. And technically speaking, the weight the horses carry, it's 126 pounds for colts and geldings.
And slightly less for the fillies, 121 pounds.
Is that difference significant?
Well, it's a standard allowance, kind of levels the playing field a bit, acknowledging the general physical differences at this age.
Makes sense. And the money, what are they running for?
The purse for 2025 is a cool $5 million US.
Oh, $5 million.
Yeah, and the winner's share of that is $3.1 million.
Okay, that definitely adds to the competitive fire.
No doubt about it. Big stakes.
All right, so people have the date, the time. How can they actually watch this unfold?
Good question. Plenty of options. On TV, you've got FanDuel TV, NBC, and also USA Network carrying coverage.
Okay, TV covered. What about streaming? Lots of people stream now.
Yep, streaming's covered too. Peacock is a main one, the NBC Sports app, NBCSports.com.
Gotcha.
And Fubo is another option for streaming the action live. So pretty accessible.
That's good. And if you're like a super fan and want to soak it all in?
FanDuel TV actually starts their live coverage way early, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time.
Wow, morning start.
Yeah, then you get coverage bouncing between USA Network, Peacock, then the main broadcast on NBC and Peacock for the big race itself.
Right, and then FanDuel picks it up again afterward.
Exactly, for the later races. So
Okay.
you can pretty much make a whole day of it if you want.
It is kind of amazing how much programming is dedicated to, well, 2 minutes of actual racing.
It really shows you it's about the whole event, the build-up, the atmosphere, everything surrounding those 2 minutes.
Okay, let's talk about the main stars, the horses. Sources are saying the field is down to 19.
That's right, 19 runners now. We had a couple of late scratches.
Yeah, who got scratched?
Grande and Rodriguez, both apparently dealing with foot bruises.
Oh, that's tough. So close to the race.
Always is. And Grande, he'd won his first 2 races this year. Looked promising.
Right. And Rodriguez. That name rings a bell. Wasn't he connected to?
Bob Baffert, yeah. Rodriguez was one of 2 horses Baffert had entered.
And Baffert's return is a big story, isn't it? After his ban.
Huge story. He was banned for 3 years from Churchill Downs, so him being back, even with just 1 horse now, is definitely adding another layer to the whole thing.
Yeah, brings a lot of attention, discussion.
For sure. Baffert's got such a history at the Derby. His return definitely spices things up. Be interesting to see how his remaining horse does.
So who is running? Can you run down the list of the 19 confirmed horses?
Okay, let's see. We have Admire Daytona, American Promise, Burnham Square, Chunk of Gold, Citizen Bull, Coal Battle, East Avenue, Final Gambit, Flying Mohawk, Journalism, Luxor Cafe. Keep going.
Neo Equos, Owen Almighty, Publisher, Render Judgment, Sandman Sovereignty, Tistastic, and Baiza.
Wow, that's the field. Quite a mix in there.
Definitely. Different trainers, jockeys, running styles, past performances.
Right.
It's what makes picking a winner, handicapping so challenging.
Like a complex puzzle.
Exactly. With moving parts.
So speaking of picking winners, what about the odds? Who's looking like the favorite?
Well, according to the morning line odds, we should probably explain those quickly.
Yeah, good idea. What are morning line odds, basically?
They're like the track odds maker's initial prediction of how the betting might go. It's based on past performance, connections, breeding, that sort of thing. It's not set in stone, more like a starting point.
Got it. An initial guess, kind of? An educated initial guess, yeah. So, based on those morning line odds, journalism is the current favorite.
Journalism.
Yep.
Okay. And some of the YouTube sources we looked at were high on him too, right? Like a personal favorite for them.
Yeah, seems to be a popular pick early on.
Who else is up there in those early odds?
The other two getting a lot of initial attention are Sovereignty and Sandman.
Okay. Journalism, sovereignty, Sandman. What makes them stand out typically? Recent wins, good speed.
Usually a combination, yeah. Strong performances in the prep races leading up to the Derby, good speed figures, maybe a running style that suits Churchill Downs, respected trainer and jockey. All those factors play in.
But then there's always the potential for an upset, right?
Always. That's the beauty of the Derby.
Because I saw Burnham Square mentioned, listed as a long shot, but he's won 3 of his last 4 races.
See? That's interesting.
Yeah, one source called him a potential golden ticket for betting. That makes things exciting.
Absolutely. You can't just look at the top 3 favorites. History is full of long shots pulling off surprises. Burnham Square's recent form makes him one to watch, for sure. Sometimes a horse just peaks at the perfect time.
And if people want expert opinions,
The Courier-Journal website, courier-journal.com, they usually have staff picks. Our sources mention they might be leaning towards those top names: Journalism, Sandman, Sovereignty, but maybe someone else too.
always interesting to see who the pros land on.
Definitely gives you different angles, but like we said, ultimately it happens on the track. In those 2 minutes, anything can happen.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Talk about the history and the traditions. This race goes way back, right? 1875.
Yep, 1875. And the inspiration actually came from overseas the Epsom Derby in England.
Ah, interesting connection.
Yeah, Colonel Meriwether Lewis Clark Jr. went to see the Epsom Derby, got inspired, and came back with the vision to create a similar premier event here.
And that led to Churchill Downs.
Exactly, the birthplace of the Derby.
And the distance wasn't always what it is now.
Right. Initially, it was longer, 1.5 miles like Epsom. But back in 1896, they changed it to the current 1.25 miles.
Why the change, do we know?
Well, the thinking was that the slightly shorter distance might better suit the American thoroughbreds being bred at the time, focusing a bit more on speed over that specific distance. It just seemed to fit better.
Fascinating. And the fact that it's run every single year since 1875, almost without fail.
Almost. Just 2 exceptions where it had to be rescheduled. During World War II in 1945, it was pushed back.
Right.
And then, of course, very recently in 2020, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, it ran in September that year instead of May.
Still, incredible consistency. Shows how important it is.
Deeply woven into the American sports calendar, for sure. A real constant.
And the Run for the Roses name that comes on the blanket of roses for the winner, yeah.
That iconic blanket, covered in 554 red roses meticulously sewn together.
554. That's specific.
Yep, it's quite the symbol of victory. Instantly recognizable.
And you can't talk Derby without mentioning the drinks and food. The mint julep.
The official drink. Gotta have a mint julep, sweet minty bourbon.
That's stew.
Purdue.
Burgoo, yeah. A traditional Kentucky stew. You'll find that everywhere on Derby Day. It's all part of the regional flavor and the whole festive experience.
Adds to the atmosphere.
Totally.
And just before the race, that call. Riders up.
Gives you chills, doesn't it? The signal for the jockeys to mount.
And this year, the person giving that call is Simone Biles.
The Simone Biles, yeah. Gymnastics legend. She's the Grand Marshal this year.
Wow. That's pretty cool. Bring a different kind of spotlight.
Definitely elevates the event's profile, shows its broad cultural reach.
And the national anthem performer.
That's Grace Potter this year. Always a powerful moment before the race.
Yeah, sets the stage. Okay, let's hit some records and, really cool facts. Fastest time ever.
Ah, the legendary Secretariat,
Yeah.
1973. Ran it in 1.59 and 2/5. So 1.59.4. Just unbelievably fast.
And didn't he do something unusual in that race? Like, get faster. Yeah, that's the mind-blowing part. Each quarter-mile split he ran was faster than the one before it, almost unheard of. Shows his insane stamina and speed. A record many think will just never be broken.
Incredible. Any other horse break 2 minutes?
Only 2 others in history.
Yeah.
Monarchos did it in 2001. It's a really exclusive club.
Wow. What about biggest win? Largest margin?
8 lengths, and that record is actually shared by 4 different horses over the years, dominating wins.
8 lengths is huge in a horse race.
Massive.
Okay, biggest upset, the longest odds for a winner.
You have to go way back to 1913 for the biggest long shot. A horse named Donerail won at 91-1 odds.
91-1.
Can you imagine? And more recently, remember Rich Strike in 2022?
Oh yeah, that was stunning.
He won at 80-1 odds. Just proves you never, ever know in the Derby.
That's what keeps you watching, right?
Absolutely, that element of unpredictability.
Here's one I found interesting. Horses winning the Derby without racing as 2-year-olds. That's rare, isn't it?
Very rare. It's called breaking the curse of Apollo. Apollo did it way back in 1882.
And then nobody did it for over 100 years.
Nobody until Justify in 2018. And then, amazingly, Mage did it just last year in 2023.
Wow. So 3 times in 150 years. That really goes against the grain because usually their 2-year-old season is key.
Exactly. It suggests those horses were just exceptional talents who maybe developed a little later or differently.
What about human records? Jockeys, trainers.
For jockeys, the record is 5 Derby wins held by the great Eddie Arcaro.
5 wins. Amazing consistency.
And for trainers, Ben Jones holds the record with 6 victories.
6. Wow. And owners, is there a dominant farm?
Calumet Farm. They lead with 8 Kentucky Derby winners, a true dynasty in the sport.
These names just echo through Derby history.
They really do. Generations of excellence.
Okay, one last area, briefly. Sire lines. The bloodlines of these horses.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. Basically the family tree, and incredibly, all Kentucky Derby winners trace their lineage back to just 3 foundation sires.
Only 3. For the whole breed.
Well, for the thoroughbred breed, essentially yes. The Darley Arabian, the Byerly Turk, and the Godolphin Arabian. They are the absolute bedrock.
That's amazing.
And get this. Every single Derby winner since 1938 traces back to just one of those lines.
Which one?
The Darley Arabian line. It's just been incredibly dominant in modern racing.
Wow, so breeding is clearly crucial.
Hugely important. And you see specific branches within that Darley Arabian line becoming really influential, like the Northern Dancer line. Mystic Dan, the 2024 winner, traced back to Northern Dancer.
So that history, that pedigree, it's literally running in the race.
It absolutely is.
All right, so that brings us pretty much up to speed. A solid deep dive into the 151st Run for the Roses.
Yeah, hopefully you, the listener, feel pretty well informed now. You've got the key details, some storylines, the history.
Any traditions, ready to watch the race.
It really is this amazing mix, isn't it? Tradition, intense competition, and always that chance for something totally unexpected. That's the Derby magic.
It really is, and it makes you think. You know, considering how many long shots have won this thing and how weather can sometimes just throw everything upside down. Which horse, maybe one we haven't talked about much, could surprise everyone this Saturday? Which one might just gallop into the history books?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Or, well, the $3.1 million question for the winner.
Right. It'll be fascinating to watch it all play out, that blend of the horses breeding, how they handle the track on the day, and, of course, the jockey's skill.
Definitely something to keep in mind as you watch. Enjoy the Derby, everyone.